Do you know the difference between chronic and terminal illness? Unfortunately, many people don't. We hope that through this video, you will be able to understand and gain more knowledge about this shied away topic. Before we head on with this journey, let me define what chronic and terminal illness is. Chronic illness is a prolonged illness that won't necessarily end in death. But terminal illness, once diagnosed, will progressively get worse and eventually be the cause of death. So let's head down to the Old Market where we ask the general public questions regarding their experience with chronic and terminal illness.
Someone say chronic or terminal illness, what feelings or thoughts come to mind?
How long is it going to last before it's over?
Okay.
Just sadness, and they have a big hill to go up throughout their life because you're always going to be battling it over and over and over again. It never goes away.
Unfortunate for that individual person, as that's last lifetime is not definitely curable.
Reoccurring, and terminal being like that's final.
Scary. Painful. Makes me sad.
A really sad feeling. Really sad feeling.
If you are comfortable sharing with us, do you know anyone that experiences chronic or terminal illness?
Yes, many people.
I have a chronic illness. I have Crohn's disease, so it's constantly battling with it every day. And I know other people that have chronic illnesses also.
The friends I had cancer, and I was able to watch their signs, and it's kind of weird. You can spot the stages, and it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, but you know what? I learned something from it. Instead of coming from what they were going to, appreciate what they're looking at right now, and they have peace with it because they know where they're going, and what they in the life stage. That was deep. I never heard it like that before, in the life stage.
And if your loved one were to be diagnosed with a chronic or terminal illness, how would you want your healthcare provider to support you and your family emotionally?
Emotionally, that's tricky. Allowing the parent or the grown-up or whoever is sick, the caregiver, in my case right now it's my mom, is allowing them to make their own decisions.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes you want to use multiple caregivers for different kinds of treatment, and not all the treatments that you have in one town are necessarily the right one.
Actually, I do have a really good health provider. I actually have a case manager, and she calls me every now and then just to check up on me. So that's what I would expect for everybody, is just to have somebody there to support them.
That's good. That's good.
Helped me along the way, I guess.
Something regarding psychiatric care with the grief process. And you know what? I'm dumb. My aunt and my grandma had terminal cancer, lung cancer. Yeah. I totally forgot about that. Now, off the top of my head, I couldn't remember, but yeah. So it would have been nice to have access to like either cheaper or like an unlimited, I don't know, sessions or something like that with grief counseling, like specifically grief counseling or something along those lines, I guess.
I don't know, just like be there for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want the doctor to tell me more detail about the disease. And ask every question I have and I worry about.
Okay.
I would want them to be with me through every step of the way.
Done there. But I noticed she had two doctors. One was really nice, but the other one was really cold. And it was kind of, because she's like, well, you need to go to the end of life stage. And it was like, is that really what you've learned through dealing with so many patients? That you become, in order to detach themselves from it so they don't feel it emotionally, she became very cold. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't become cold. Because see, in a little while their day ends. Yours keep going.
And then lastly, do you have anything else you'd like to add regarding this topic?
Not really.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Not really. Just keep your head up.
That's great advice. Pumps and stuff. Okay, so would you say technology has helped you a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
I think there needs to be more awareness for Crohn's disease, colitis, and colon cancer.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just think that they should allow free or an unlimited counseling sessions for the grief process, because it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, and everybody goes through it differently, and I don't think there should be a time limit, like, you know, you have 3 months after the grief process to get, like, free counseling or something like that, you know, because jobs give bereavement, but it sucks, like when my dad passed away, I had to pick 3 days off work to either miss for his funeral or just take time off for myself, and that's not enough time. I think we should be able to have something for that.
Only thing I would say is when you're dealing with something like that where the life takes a drastic change, don't focus on it medically anymore. Take the compassionate side and help them walk with the compassionate side. Don't say deal with it, just say walk with them on the compassionate side, because that's all they need is a friend at the moment.
Next, to gain more insights on chronic and terminal illnesses, I decided to interview my best friend, Madison, about her own experience. Madison has been diagnosed from the very beginning with cystic fibrosis. However, that doesn't stop from doing what she loves. In fact, she is our star captain on our lacrosse team at my high school, and she's decided to even play in college. In this interview, she talks about her day-to-day life as well as her overall outlook on this disease. This is my friend Madison, who has cystic fibrosis, and this is her perspective on chronic and terminal illnesses. Hi, Madison.
Hello.
So can you explain to everyone what cystic fibrosis is and like how this condition is for you personally?
Okay, it's a genetic lung and digestive disease, and it affects your lungs by mucus building up because the cells don't transfer salt properly, and so that causes mucus to build up in the lining of your chest and your lungs, also in the lining of your pancreas. So it causes no enzymes to form in your pancreas, so you can't digest your food, and then you have to take enzymes every day, and then it causes you to become very congested in your lungs.
So like with that in mind, what is like your daily treatment and what are things you have to do every day?
Okay, so in the morning I do 30 minutes of percussion treatments, and along with that I do 2 breathing treatments. And then every day when I eat like fatty foods or drink like some type of milk or something, I take enzymes regularly, like pills, so I can digest it and get the nutrients from the food. And then at night I also do another round of 30 minutes of percussion and then 1 treatment of breathing.
All right. How did you find out that you had this, or was it like right away when you were born?
Yeah, when I was born, I got diagnosed like 2 weeks after I was born, because my dad, he used to say when he kissed my forehead as a child, like it would be really salty, because since I don't absorb the salt in my cells, you like sweat more and it's on your skin more, so that was kind of like a thing. And then my doctor had an idea, and so I was tested for it, and then they came up with it, because at the time it wasn't like a routine test they did.
And then like with that in mind, how do you believe like knowing that you had cystic fibrosis like impacted your life along with like your family?
I mean, it's always been a regular thing since I was like born with it. It was never new, so I feel like it's not a huge impact. I mean, financially a little bit maybe, but like otherwise, I don't know. It's never been, we've never known anything different. So I feel like it's kind of just there. It's not a huge impact.
Like with that in mind, when you tell people that you have cystic fibrosis, what's like a normal reaction, or like with that like impression, does it, if it's like good or bad, does that make you like stop wanting to tell people that you have it?
When I first tell people, I think it's funny because it's not noticeable for most people, and for me it's definitely not noticeable because my genotype is very different and it's completely different for everyone, and I'm very athletic, so no one notices it, and when I tell them they are very surprised, and most of the time people forget that I have it, and so I'd rather have people ask about it because they'll see me like whipping out pills at dinner and they'd be like, that's kind of weird, so I'd rather people know what it actually is and ask about it than just assume, you know? So I'd rather have people know. And I don't know, I mean, sometimes people just kind of brush it off because they're used to it, that kind of things, or other people look at you weird, but then, like I said, most of the time they forget.
Do people like ever treat you differently after knowing that you had that?
It depends. I mean, people who know what it is, yes, because they know other cases can be very severe. so they can look at it differently. But people who don't know what it is, they don't think anything of it because they just see what I have and how it doesn't affect me. So, I mean, it's not a big difference, though.
What is it like, since you said you're an athlete and you play lacrosse, and you're actually, in fact, the captain for a lacrosse team? Wow. So how does that, like, impact you with having, like, cystic fibrosis? Do you have to do anything different compared to most people?
Well, I have to do treatments, and then before practice, it's kind of, people would consider it similar to asthma, where they do like inhalers before and stuff. But I usually do like an inhaler before practice and stuff, and I make sure I have my treatments done before so it doesn't affect me. But it probably makes me work harder, because another big thing with having CF is you have to stay active in order to be healthy. And I don't know, it doesn't affect me personally because I've always been active. My parents have always made sure I was. But like people who haven't been, and as a kid they were like sheltered with it, it does affect them. If you try to run or something, it can be hard to breathe. But then if it does, you just kind of have to sit through it and wait it out.
With having this condition, how do you perceive like chronic and terminal illnesses then, since you have one your own?
I don't know. I don't consider it anything different. Since I do have one, I never considered it chronic or terminal. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds a lot worse than it is, because most of the time it's everyday people living normal lives. So, like me. So, I don't think of anything of it.
Are like your healthcare providers, when you go to clinics to talk about your checkup with like CF and everything, do you believe they like approach it pretty well, or like do they not like say those things? Instead they just kind of make it, like you said, like a day-to-day thing, like you just live with it? And
yeah, I mean, I've known all of my doctors I've had since I was a baby, and so they're all like family friends, and it's really nice. But it's kind of, they're all chill with it, and they know what's going on, and I don't know, every checkup's the same. It's like like I don't go to normal checkups. I just have CF checkups only, because it's like a 2-in-1.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Do you do anything for the CF community? Like, partake in any like tests for the condition, or go to any awareness activities or anything?
I do pill studies. I did one 2-3 years ago. That was a pretty big one that I was a subject for, because my genotype was compatible with the pill. And I did that for about 2 years, which was like regular 2-week checkups, which was it was a lot, but it was worth it. And then for that, I did like award nights and stuff for it, because it was like a successful study. But otherwise, there's actually not a lot of like, I don't know, it's more so, there's not a lot of people my age who have it, so it's very geared towards like adults. A study right now where it deals with another medication I take, and it's nothing extra. I just have to do a little bit more when I do those routine checkups. So it's just a little add-on, but nothing extensive or new.
All right. And is there anything you want to explain to the general public about cystic fibrosis, or like having a chronic or terminal illness? Like, they shouldn't make it a big deal, or like what intake do you have for that?
I say if you see somebody that might be different, or you know something's up, like if someone's taking medication in front of you or something, ask about it. Because most of the time, like, I feel like ask before you assume, because most of the time people think it's a lot worse than it actually is. And if you're curious, I'm pretty sure someone would rather have you know what it is than assume and like try to figure it out yourself. And I don't know, ask questions, because I feel like that's always better than Googling it, because Google can make everything sound much worse. Because, like, every illness, everything is so different for everyone. Like, you don't know unless you ask them what they have it themselves.
All right.
From this video project, I've gained a whole new perspective on the subject. From having a best friend with chronic illness, as well as numerous family members, I now have new standards on how I would want them to be treated. Likewise, I also learned how important it is to be inclusive towards others within this community.
The year before my 6th grade, my grandma was diagnosed with ALS. No one told me what was happening, so I had to find out on my own. It wasn't until she couldn't walk or talk that I realized that this was a bigger problem than was being let on. Because of this, I realized that it's important to inform the children of the family what is going on so they can cherish the last moments that they have with their family members.
So my father is a family physician, and from a young age, I've observed the hardship that he has had to face due to his work. Although chronic and terminal illnesses are hard on the patient as well as their family, it is hard for the care providers too. I would like people to understand that everyone in the process of caring for someone with terminal or chronic illness carries an emotional burden. It takes a whole team to support one another. Although society doesn't raise conversations regarding chronic and terminal illnesses openly, since it is a personal topic, we shouldn't let that affect our ability to support those who live with it. So, what can you do to actively take part in raising awareness about chronic and terminal illnesses? 1. Don't be afraid to talk about it with others. It's a part of life. 2. Keep up with educating yourself regarding this topic. We'll post links down below in the description. 3. Be active in your communities to show your support. Examples would be like walks, runs, and volunteering at camps. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and share this video so we can keep spreading the awareness.
If you mess up,
Are we going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Different standards of how I would want the blah. Okay. Oh, it's on.
Claire. Keep sharing the message. Thanks for watching. Oh, should I sit down? Share this video so we can keep this video so we can keep spreading the awareness.